Scarface talk real. No filters here. We love too hard. We argue then cheer. Red flags
up. We're live. Welcome back to Uncomfortable Convos. It's your boy, the one with the scar on his face, your boy Scarface. And welcome back to another episode. One of the most popular things that I get asked for, it's several things, but this one especially because, and I can't really answer it because I've never been in this type of relationship. And so I only give whatever like answer that I can just give. But then I had a buddy of mine who came to Arizona. He's originally from Idaho, and he's actually in one of these relationships, and hit him up and he was like, yeah, let's make it happen. Let's do it. So we have Elias he's all the way from.
Oh, I was like, man, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was like, cool. And then I was like, oh shit, that's why I'm here.
And it's like, that's why I'm here. It's like, who? It's like somebody coming?
Yeah, that's cool.
No, but he's also like a real estate agent out in Idaho, Blackfoot area, Southeast Idaho. He's also killing it. You started your own brokerage too?
Yeah. Back in late 2018, early 2019.
Yeah. And then ever since then, you've just been killing it.
Just trying, man. I don't know about killing it, but I'm kind of doing my thing out there.
I'm doing my thing. We doing good.
Yeah.
Which I have questions about that too, like here in a little while, just because I'm just curious to see what other people in the industry, like if they know and what they think about your type of relationship.
Yeah. They know. Yeah.
It's like I'm pretty open about it. So basically, I'll let you know what I think of poly is. And I don't even know if you call it that. Do you call it that?
I don't know if I would identify as that. I don't really know if I fit or if we fit in a specific category. I don't know.
But it's something similar, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to me, it's when you and your partner are also, or you have multiple girlfriends, right? Like it's one guy, multiple girlfriends. So I can see where you think like where it's a little different for you because, we'll get into that here in a little bit. But that's typically what people say is like there's the guy and he's dating multiple girls, right?
Yeah.
For example, Neo, he has 3 girlfriends right now.
Yeah.
And so that's more of a poly.
He's going to be so sick of love songs in a little bit, man.
I don't know how he does that. That's a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But
I got stories, man. Yeah. You got to watch out for those full moons, man. I don't know how you do it with 3.
So it's funny because I want to jump right into the questions, but I'm just like, all right, hold on. Let me slow down. Edgar, slow down. So have you been open about this like for a long time, or like did you just recently start talking about this?
As far as open goes, I mean, so kind of our first like relationship, the first female we dated together. So the reason I don't think it's necessarily poly, it's because it's not like I have multiple girlfriends. Me and my wife are open and willing to date females together, and build connections together, so that's kind of how we do it. But when we first started hanging out with someone, she was coming around the office, like we'd hang out a lot. She came to like a Super Bowl party with family. So, she went to a work convention with us. So it was like, I felt like we needed to let people know, because I didn't want people to think that like, hey, I'm cheating on my wife with this other, girl that at the time everybody said she looked like my wife. So everybody jokes that I have a type, but, sorry, we just started hanging
and you
out.
can see that in Idaho. People would judge instantly. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, is this dude with another girl right now?" And then everybody knows.
Yeah, even now, and it does. Like, but I think for me it was cool because I was able to kind of control the narrative early on. But you know how things go. Like people hear something, it just kind of takes on a life of its own. So
I want to bring it because I want to get to really understand.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been married?
Since 2009.
So 2009.
Yeah.
And that's married. How long have you guys been together?
Since 2003. So we met in high school. Yeah.
And did you know, because you said that your wife is bi, right? Like she's into women. Did you know that early on? Or when did you find this out?
It was around the time that the Raiders moved to Las Vegas that first season when you could attend games, because the first year you couldn't go watch the games live. So we would drive a lot to Vegas and, we would just spend a lot of time talking, like I could just sit and talk for hours. Like I like to just conversate, you know?
Yeah.
So we just kind of started talking, and then she just kind of like, you know, kind of started saying that, like, you know, she grew up in a LDS community, you know, pretty conservative in Idaho. And she's like, you know, I think I've always been attracted to women. I could just never necessarily act on it or anything like that. And my first inclination was like, oh shit, like, is my wife just gay? Like, am I in one of those situations where like someone later in their lives realizes like, yo, I'm not.
And then leaves you.
Yeah, you know, so, but I did. I was like, I love her enough where I was like, hey, like, she felt like she was kind of limited and like kind of held back. And I was like, well, I don't want you to feel that way in our marriage. So I'm just like, do you want to just date a woman? And it was like, no. And then it was like, should we try to date one together? Because I think as a guy, like, everyone's like, oh man, like 2 girls at the same time, it just becomes this cool thing. And then you step into it and it's just like, fuck, it's exhausting, you know? But it's also cool. So that's kind of how it started, just conversations. And honestly, we talked about it for probably over a year before like we like acted on it, because it's a big deal, you know. It's a shift in the relationship. It's a shift in like even her life to allow herself to, you know, explore some things that she maybe didn't allow herself to explore before. So it took us a while, and then it's just like, well, cool, let's do it. And then it's like, well, where the hell do you find anybody that's interested in Idaho and something like this, you know?
So before we get there, let me know. You got to be honest too.
Yeah.
Were you excited?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, hell yeah, like we were about to.
Yeah, because I think your first inclination, and we'll talk, you know, a little bit about it later, of why it's just like, damn, it's actually more exhausting than you'd think. But early on, it was like, sweet, you know what I mean? Like, what, you're telling me that you're into women, you know? And it was so, yeah, it was something that was like, it was really cool. So,
and so you guys said that you guys talked for about a year before you guys actually, like, was during this time were you guys like setting up boundaries, like what's okay, what's not okay, or like if you guys are actually sure about doing this? Like, why did it take so long?
Yeah, I think we wanted to be careful with our relationship, with like our love. You know, we've been together since we were, I mean, I was 17, I think, when I met her, you know, so just to be able to have that conversation, to set boundaries. Like, everybody kind of has an idea of what, you know, what you kind of want it to be like, how you want it to go. What if this situation arises? What if this happens? You know, but then it's almost like, is it the Mike Tyson quote where everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face or something like that? Yeah. So I think our first try, we definitely got punched in the face. We learned a lot, you know what I mean? And I think it was really cool. We were able to grow a lot as well, but it was interesting, man. It was, I think if I could go back and do it differently again, I would do it totally different for our first experience.
Was it because you guys didn't really set boundaries, or like you didn't think of certain things like were gonna arise? Like maybe like the reason I'm thinking is like maybe you went to go hang out with her and didn't tell your wife, right? And then that became a problem. Was it stuff like that?
No, it was more like, I think early on we're like, we need to find a relationship. Like, we need to find, like, because to justify what we're doing, you know, we need to like just be in a relationship with someone versus like, let's just have fun and enjoy, you know, another individual together. Let's connect with someone and get to know someone and not put a label on it, not try and like, so I think early on in our minds, like, well, if we're going to do this, like, it's got to be a relationship. It was almost like, cause I think, you know, in a way, the way she was raised, like, there was shame and just sexuality, you know what I mean? And sex in general. So I think a lot of that, you know, played into it. And, you know, for me, I just wanted to do it in a way that made her feel comfortable, and also in a way for me where it was like, okay, like, if we're going to do this, like, I guess it makes sense to be in a relationship. So early on, that's kind of what we were looking for early on, you know? And I think it changed the dynamic with our first person that we started hanging out with, where, you know, I almost wish we would have met her today when we're a little bit more, I kind of have a clear idea of like what we'd be open to, you know?
A little bit more seasoned.
Yeah.
Are you a jealous person, and is she a jealous person?
I think there's a little bit of jealousy in both of us. You know what I mean? I've never been like a jealous person with like, cause I think my wife's beautiful. So I know like men are going to be attracted to her, but I've never been like, who you talking to or anything like that, you know? She's always kind of been the same way. Like I'm around a lot of females and at work and stuff, you know, so I don't think we're jealous in that way. But I will say, like, coming into this, like, jealousy was something I never thought I was going to feel, right? But you feel all the emotions, man. You feel it just differently. So I think we both experienced, you know, I think she experienced some jealousy, you know what I mean? And even myself, I was surprised. I was like, shit. Like, you know what I mean? Is that what this feels like? You know what I mean? So it was definitely like, I think we broke kind of our own barriers, you know, and I think it was really good for us as much as, you know, there were some difficult times with it and just trying to like figure it out. Like, I think it really just kind of, you know, and we talked through everything because that was super important. But yeah, I think we both kind of found out like, hey, there's a little bit of jealousy here. And then eventually, like, you know, the person we were hanging out with at first started to get jealous over certain things too, you know? So it's complex because, I mean, it's real people, it's real emotions, real connections. And like, you don't really know where you're going. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, somebody wants something different or a different kind of setup. And it's like, I don't think that aligns with what we're looking for. So.
Yeah. Like, to me, it's, I was just curious because most guys, I don't think they would be jealous when it's another girl, right? But then maybe something happened, right? Was it, I mean, you don't have to let me know, but was it because like the way she was with the other girl that kind of made you feel like, what, you know, like,
I think it was just
that type of jealousy?
I think it was more like, because again, we've been together since we were teenagers, you know? So I think just that, like, damn, she's really liking this. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah.
Like, and even for her, like, she joked, like, hey, you're always looking at her with these dumb eyes. And I'm like, whoa, shit. Like, what do you mean dumb eyes? Like, I need to start wearing sunglasses. But no, I think it was just little nuances that, like, we've just never really, you know, experienced. And I mean, for us, like, communication, consent was a big thing for the both of us. You know what I mean? You know, I remember one of the first times, like, I hooked up with the one girl without her. I like called and asked for permission, right? You know what I mean? So it was that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like that was very, I think, important to the both of us, is just making sure that we were both, like, we didn't want to be reckless with it. You know what I mean? Because even if you are being careful with it, it's a very complex thing. And it was, again, our first try, like, you know, tries, you know, after that, it was a lot smoother. But at that point, like, we kind of had a more clear idea of what we wanted. You know, we thought we knew what we wanted, then we jumped into it. And then, I mean, there were some amazing times, man, like amazing laughs, great times. But then there was also some very difficult times too. But I think, I mean, all the girls we've hung out with aren't, like, they're not like officially bi. I think they were just kind of curious and straight their whole lives and just coming out of a relationship. So it was always like, wait, are they, like, I can figure out, because I don't think I'm like this attractive dude. So it's like, they want to, like, try with my wife because she's beautiful, you know? So I always joke with my wife, I'm like, you're the girl that makes other girls want to try being gay, right? Like, for me, like, there ain't no dude that I'm going to look at and I'll be like, yeah, I'll try it. You know what I mean? But like, I'm like, that's what you got. But there was a lot of times where she felt like these girls are straight and they want you. They don't necessarily want, you know. But I mean, it was just a cool ride, a cool experience, and it's been that way with different girls. And it's not always sexual either, which is like what's kind of cool. It's like there's some pretty strong connections and friendships that we have that don't ever really, we might spend the night together, but like there's no sexualness behind it. So just connection, man. And you just don't know where that connection's going to take you. So
How was that? Because you mentioned a little bit ago that you had to call her to hook up with this other girl. How was the first time? Look, the reason I asked about being jealous is because there's some girls who are like, I don't want to share what's mine, even if she's bi, you know, like they still wouldn't want to see their man with another person, right?
yeah.
Is there, like, did she get to that point where she was like pretty jealous? Like, around the first times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the first times that maybe she saw you touching another woman, or like when you had asked to like hook up with this girl without her.
Yeah. So she wasn't, I mean, at least in the conversation, because for us it was like, let's just over communicate, right? So we communicated a lot, and, you know, I just called her and asked her, and I don't remember where she was, and and she was like, yeah, that's fine. You know, it was like, I appreciate you. Now when she hung up, I don't know what was going on in her brain there, you know, but I think she appreciated that, you know, I called her there. As far as like I forgot what the other question was.
Just jealousy, like the first time she saw you touching
Yeah.
another girl too.
I think early on the jealousy didn't necessarily come from the sexual stuff. Like there'd be times where like, why is she laughing? Like, you ain't that funny. You know what I mean? Like kind of like, why are you looking at her
He's
that
not
way?
that funny.
Yeah. Or it's just like, I remember one time they went, you know, on a drive or something like that, you know, and I'm just like, fuck, man, it's been a minute, you know, like I'm just chilling here. Like what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything. Cause I think what kind of prepared us for it was taking so long and really talking about all the scenarios, like knowing like, hey, like I'm going to kiss another individual, right? I'm going to hook up with another individual. We might end up, you know, having sex with this person. And like sex was such a big, scary thing up front. Like even for myself, I was like, fuck, like, how's this even gonna work? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big porn dude, so it's not like there was like a game plan or anything, you know? And for her, she's like, I'm not even sure how it's gonna work, but like, yeah, that first time it was like, it's perfect. It was awesome. It just flowed, man. It worked. Shout out to Mason Ramsey, the yodeling Walmart kid. Like, it's a long story, but
I was like, why are you shouting out the yodeling kids?
yeah, it was a song, one of his
It's like-
songs that came on, and then shit just happened.
Oh, I thought it
So-
was like maybe somebody who was related to him, and
No.
like he stamped the okay or something. Like,
No, but it was one of his songs that came on, and that was just kind of one of the things I remember about the first time. So.
were you? Because I'm sure that would be nerve wracking, because you're like, I've been with my wife for so long. Now you're about to like touch another woman,
Yeah.
and before this, you would probably gotten in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Like if you would have done it, they would have been like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
And I think most people like in this situation would probably feel that type of guilt or like be scared a little bit. Did you feel like that at all? Like in the beginning, you know what I mean? Cause like
Yeah.
if you're like, all right, we're going to do this, even though you have consent,
yeah,
I feel like there would be still like a small, like, am I doing something wrong here? You know what I mean? Like when you know, you're not doing anything wrong, but like, it kind of feels like you're doing something wrong.
yeah. I think there was just a lot of anticipation. The first night we hung out, we had drinks and we talked. I mean, I think all night, and nothing happened that night. And then the second night we hung out, and I think that's when it happened, you know. And I just remember, you know, we were having fun, we were having some drinks, and we were downstairs in the theater room, and Mason Ramsey came on. And no, man, and I mean, yeah.
And then you were the one yodeling.
I was yodeling. I was giving it my all, man. No, but like, you know, honestly, the one thing I do remember is like, as things were getting heated, and it was like time for, you know, I guess I don't know what you'd call it, right? But like, I just remember like, I think they were making out, and she was, I think, wanting me to get in, jump in. I don't know what you call it, you know, and
Tag in.
yeah, and I just remember I just asked my wife, I was like, hey, is this so cool? Because like I could tell she was wanting me to like go in, right? So
Yeah.
so I just asked my wife, I was like, is this good? Because I think that was a big thing for me, was like, even in the heat of the moment, like before I do this, I just want to make sure like I have her blessing or it's cool, even though like she's obviously enjoying what's happening, but I felt like I was like, I gotta like make sure it's still cool.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So as far as guilt goes, like it feels different, you know, but the fact that like we were doing it together, like it just kind of made it special. So
What about the first time you did it without her?
that, I'll be honest, that time it felt like different. It was a little different, you know, because like, I mean, it wasn't bad,
Yeah.
but it was also like, oh man, I'm excited. Let me ask permission. Cool. And then it was like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but I think it just worked out, and I had a good connection with her, and we were just all pretty close. So, but it was different, because like that wasn't what I'm used to. So
You call her back, you're all crying. I cheated. I literally just gave you permission.
yeah.
So you said the first time you guys, it was magic in the first time you guys did it.
Yeah.
You mentioned right now that you guys were drinking a little bit, so everything was like flowing a little bit, maybe smoother. Do you think if you would have been sober, would have been like, hey, like, should I stand over here? Like type of situation.
Yeah.
Or like, hey,
No,
like,
there was a lot of sober moments too. I think just it's not like we were sloshed, you know, but maybe it relaxed us a little bit. You know what I mean?
I would think so. Well, especially like when you have when you're intimate and you're a little lit.
Yeah.
People tend to get a little freakier. You
Yeah.
know, like
The first night we hung out and like just talked, I drank way too much. Like I was like, it was like too much where I was like, hey, nothing can happen tonight. Cause it was just, but also it was probably like 6 hours of just straight talking, getting to know each other.
I thought it
having
was
fun.
like 6 hours of being like in. I was like, damn.
No, that was it. Yeah. Those other nights, there might've been a couple hours here and there, but it was
Are you able to keep up?
me. Yeah.
Like, are you
man.
in there like 3 pumps and then you're like,
No,
you're good,
man.
and then you're like, all right, hold on, I'll jump right back in. Hold on.
You have to fact check this because you might not believe me, but like they had to tag each other in and out sometimes.
Oh, damn.
Because like so I'm like a
Send me a DM. I want to know if you know.
marathon runner, but we joke because they would have to tag in, but I think it would just vary, you know. And I think for me as the male, it was cool to like sometimes just watch, man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So, I mean, since you're, and I'm sure you guys had talked, set boundaries and things like that. What was a boundary that surprised you that you didn't think was going to be like you were expecting it from your wife?
Nothing comes to the top of mind right now, you know, because we were pretty open with each other, you know. But I think once there started to be like strong feelings there, then it was a little bit like different, you know what I mean? But I don't know if there was like a hard boundary there. It's not like, you know, we weren't gonna just go out on a date, just me and her. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you would call that a boundary, but that's not what we were trying to do early on.
And so, how would you? I mean, we're getting a little bit more into like, because most people think when this type of relationship, they can think it's poly and they can think whatever it is. But fact is that you were dating 2 girls, right?
Mm.
And most people think that when the word poly is like you're just hooking up with a bunch of different girls, which is not
Yeah.
that. You're actually in a relationship with your wife and then building a relationship with this other woman, you know?
Yeah,
How do you split? Because you have kids too.
yeah,
How do you split time evenly with everybody? Because you got a business,
yeah,
now you got a wife, you got kids,
yeah,
and now you include somebody else who I'm pretty sure is gonna want some attention as well.
yeah. And she had kids too, you know. Yeah. So I mean, there were times where we all just hung out, like even her kids and us. Like it was cool. Like we all had fun there. Our kids were about the same age. You know, other instances that we've hung out with others, like they have kids, but we'll just, you know, kind of do our thing, you know. But, you know, the way I see it, and I think thruple is the term that my wife liked. So I saw it as like, yeah, I might have been dating her and my wife, but my wife was dating her and me. And it was like there was 3 of us, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what it felt like versus I'm dating 2 women, you know. But yeah, I think we just, and I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what ended it was I wasn't going to sacrifice my time with my family to, you know, go out for a weekend with like her and her friends and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think as we started to maybe start to get a little bit more feelings and she had a little bit more clarity into what she wanted, because she was just getting out of a relationship too, which I think really made it hard, you know? But yeah, it was good, man. It was a good time. It was a good experience and we learned a lot. But I think towards the end, I think she wanted more of a traditional relationship, which I think it's what's honestly made it hard is like all the ladies that we've hung out with are straight and they are used to just dating one person, you know. Some are like, yeah, I think I'm open to the idea of dating, you know, long term or something like that, you know. But I think people are comfortable in their comfort, even though sometimes I feel like just individual relationships are toxic as hell, and like people just keep doing it, keep trying it, and they find themselves like, why am I not happy? Or, you know, every time somebody breaks up with someone, it's like, oh yeah, I was dating a narcissist, and all of a sudden they become like a clinical therapist where they're like, you know, diagnosing their ex-partner and everyone. So for me, it's just kind of like, it's something different and it's something new, but I think everyone should at least try it once. Cause like, it could be pretty powerful and pretty balancing. But also,
it could cause a lot of issues too at the same time.
Exhausting, bro. Like, I don't like, I think during that, 4 or 5 months, while we were strictly dating one individual, like, I think I got the least amount of sleep in my life for good reasons and for bad reasons, right? But also like menstrual cycles, like the luteal stages, like full moons and shit. Like, I mean,
Mercury was retrograding.
Yeah, like I had 2 days of the month where I was like safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time it was like shit. But females are just a beautiful, complex creations of God, and you just gotta really be able to just navigate your way through all that.
Was there a moment like with all these girls that somebody, either you or your wife, started to maybe feel something pretty strong with the other person?
Yeah.
And it like almost like scared you or scared the other person, kind of like, why are you liking this person a little? Like, it feels like you like them a little too much.
Yeah, I think on the first one, I think because we were looking to justify what we were doing and we don't want a relationship, I think it expedited feelings. So like, I think that I think I fell for the other girl. I think she might have fallen from me as well. I remember we had a mutual friend and she calls my wife panicking, hey, I think she's falling for him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of what's supposed to happen, But was it scary? A little bit, but, at the end of the day, like, it just, looking back now, like, I don't know if I would avoid it, because sometimes when you get a connection with someone, sometimes it's instant, sometimes it takes a little bit of work, and sometimes it's just not there. Like, there's been people that we've hung out with where, like, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just hard, right? And, but you still want to be able to just give every individual an opportunity to, like, maybe the first date was horrible, but, like, by the second or third date, it's like, okay, like, you're at least someone that, like, we don't got to be hooking up, but, like, I'm down to have drinks and sing karaoke and watch movies with you on a random weekend just to hang out and just companionship,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason I asked that is because with these TikToks and stuff that I do, there's been some people who sent questions and just stories that they were in an open relationship kind of situation too. And they actually, their person caught feelings for the other person.
Yeah.
And they ended up ending their relationship because they went with the other person. And so that's why, like, people have these questions, like, how do you balance that? How do you, like, not, because we're human, like, you're gonna catch feelings for somebody, you're gonna like it's gonna happen. So would you say that's like a risk you're willing to take, because it's not like you can control it? Like, say you meet this girl, right? I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but say you meet this girl, you're just like head over heels for her and like this and that, but she doesn't want to do this situation, and you're like, I kind of like her more, like, and there's some people who actually end that, like, their wife or husband, and they leave.
I think you're playing with fire if it's just a full open relationship. Even swinging, I didn't realize there were so many damn swingers
there's a lot
in Idaho. Like, people were
I didn't know there.
People were hitting me up, and I was like, no, we ain't doing that. You know what I mean? So I can see why that's difficult. I think for us, we just had a clear idea of, like, of what we wanted, and a lot of the females we talk to, they say, like, it's intimidating to think about being your third, because, like, that's your baby mama, that's someone that you've known since she was 16 years old. Like, how am I ever gonna be that? You know what I mean? Or compete with that? And it's like, well, you're not supposed to. Like, we're it's the three of us, right? Like, there's no comparison or anything like that. So I think a lot of females would get intimidated because, like, they want to be loved, they want the attention, but it's like, how are you gonna? But it's like, when you got both of us, it's not just like, it's not a male dominated type of relationship where I feel like, to me, it's like, I want to empower my wife to be a part of it too. You know what I mean? And it's not just me and someone else. So, I can see how those situations can get tough, but also at the same time, man, like, I'm committed to my wife. Like, we're not a perfect couple. Like, we have had our regular ups and downs. Like, when you've been with someone since the person that I was when I was 17 when I met her, like by the time I was 22, I was a different man. By the time I was 30, I was different, and now at 39, I'm totally different. Same with her. So it's like, I'm sure there's been times where she was sick of me and she was like, "This, I'm done," and same thing on my end, you know. But at the same time, like we're just committed and and building this family and just kind of staying together. Like I watched my dad die and my mom be heartbroken, you know what I mean? And it's just like I want that kind of love, where I'm like, I want someone to cry for me when I die, when I'm 80, that's been with me for 40 years, that has seen like my worst times, my my good times, because I think that's something that we forget. Like I did lose my dad, I lost my sister, I lost my mom in the last 7 years, and to have someone there that was there with me when they were alive, like to feel that with me. So it's big. So I think that's what my commitment is with her. It's just like, we're going to work through things. We're going to talk through things, and these experiences that we've been through, like it stress tests your marriage for sure, but for me, it's like, I'm not looking to leave, and I don't,
because this had originally started just to like help her. I mean, you get a benefit out of it too.
Oh,
right?
for sure, dude.
But like, it was more like the reason it had started was to satisfy her other, need that she wanted, right?
Yeah, it's like you're bi. Do you want to try to date? You just want to explore that, right? Because you weren't able to. So, like, what better time to do it than when you're in your 30s and married with kids, right?
Because there's some people that I know that are actually bi, like they're with a woman, but they crave the opposite person.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's nice being with this person, but you miss a man's touch, or and like her example, like she might miss that woman's touch, that being touched by another woman. So like, it's either, maybe she goes and does it behind your back. I'm not saying she would, but there's some people who would. Yeah. Right. Just so they get that. So I'm sure like it's cool that you guys were able to communicate. And that's why I tell like these girls all the time is, because somebody's going to listen to the podcast and be like, I would never do that. Right.
I hear that a lot.
But what I say is like, if they're happy, let them do whatever they want. Yeah. Like it's not your relationship. It's not affecting you. It didn't affect your paycheck. Yeah. Like it did nothing to you. Like, so like, if you wouldn't do it, cool. Yeah. Like, because there's certain things that I wouldn't do. And I'm like, just because I say I wouldn't do it, doesn't mean it's wrong. Yeah. And if you want to do it, then go ahead and then do it. Right. Yeah. So before I get into the other question, I'm curious to, first of all, do your kids know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so she came out to like her family, like, it was a big deal for her. Like, and I think to me, that's what makes me super proud of her is like to be able to like step into herself and into her own skin, Yeah, we tell our kids that, hey, so-and-so's coming over tonight, or, we're going to go out with so-and-so. So they had a good understanding. We communicate really well with our kids. Maybe our youngest, they were, 5 and 2. So like, it's not like, but my oldest, they understand and they, they get it. And they're very open and loving to, all types of people. I remember when my wife got a tattoo, she was LDS, and she was still hiding it from her mom. And my oldest was like, why do you have to hide it from your mom? You just be proud of who you are. And then after that, like, she was like, so I think they got it. How much they understood, I don't know. But like, they know that, we'll have sometimes friends that come over and hang out, or we'll go out to dinner with them. Like, that's.
Was it difficult at first for her? For her parents, like, because I don't know her parents. Yeah. But you've seen it like on videos and movies, like when they come out, they're just like, no, like something is wrong with you, like we'll fix you, was there ever, especially, I'm not saying but most LDS people are very judgmental. Yeah,
they're very religious. I think her dad was a bishop when she came out, and so but honestly, I think the cool thing about them is like they're like the epitome of unconditional love, which is so hard to find these days. So I think her dad was kind of like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Because I think she maybe did it after a Super Bowl party where she was there with us, and they were wondering like why she kind of cozy with
The both of
Elias,
y'all?
you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think she just ended up kind of coming out. I think she did it with her sisters and siblings and stuff. And there were some cool stories, with that. And obviously those are her stories to tell. But yeah, it wasn't too crazy or dramatic. So
Which is good, and hopefully parents listen to that, because at the end of the day, like, they're gonna do what they're like. It's better if they can talk to you,
yeah,
and you just talk to them, accept them for who they are, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, no, we're gonna fix you, because now you just made them feel like there's a problem. It's gonna stain you guys' relationship in some certain
Yeah.
way. There's always gonna be that.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, let them be them, like,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
and then be open to talk to, like, if they can feel like they can talk to you about anything,
yeah,
they're gonna come to you for a lot more, and they're gonna
Yeah.
like, especially the younger they are, if
Yeah.
they feel like they can talk to you about certain things,
Yeah.
they'll come and talk to you now.
yeah. And I think also too, like if you're coming out or thinking of coming out and you do come out, like don't expect anything, because whether it's a positive reaction or a negative, that first initial reaction, no matter who you do it to, might not be the ideal one. Give people time to process it. But like, I think it's so important to live your truth, because if you don't, you're living a life to satisfy everybody else outside of this soul that you're carrying, So like, you got to be able to, yeah, just be comfortable in who you are, And sometimes that's hard for anybody, right? Sometimes for me, it's like, I had a little situation that happened not too long ago where it became this like almost public fiasco, where this dude's boyfriend posted on, or this girl's boyfriend posted on Facebook, because she told him that she was maybe wanting to hang out with us and be a third with us. And I was like, oh shit, and yeah, it kind of turned crazy. But like, it's just one of those things where like, just be comfortable in your own skin. And, there's a lot of people that care but don't care and don't necessarily matter.
Yeah, and then usually, that was my next thing, is like, how was everybody else?
Yeah.
Because it's typically the people that you don't know who talk the most.
Yeah.
Or it's just like the people that you thought would understand are the ones
Yeah.
that are just like, that say the worst, right?
Yeah.
How was everybody else's reaction to you guys?
I think there was concern, like, and for me, it's just like, I get you. Like, I get why you're concerned, because like, this is a concept that might not necessarily like fit in your picture of, in your brain capacity of like, why would somebody want to do something like that, So I did have some people, whether they were agents or just family, that were just like, hey, I'm a little worried, blah, blah, blah. But like, cool. Like, you're worried because you love me, and I appreciate the love. But at the end of the day, like, we know what we're trying to do, and we're all right.
Was there any like, because there's some people that won't do business with people that they don't agree
Yeah.
with. Their views don't align in a lot of things. Was there anybody, because you're in the real estate world,
Yeah.
which has a lot of moving parts, was there, did you notice, or did you hear from like other people, like, this dude really doesn't like the way you're doing, like what you're doing? They think God doesn't, God
Yeah.
doesn't think it's right,
Yeah, well, I think for me, like, my style in general as a individual is like, I'm gonna be myself and who I am. And for some people, like, they wouldn't join me before any of that came out in the public, because I might swear, or I might, I'm brown, right?
You got tattoos.
I got tattoos, like, all these different things, and they weren't going to join me anyways. But at the end of the day, like, I don't need everybody to join me, right? Like, there's more to life than money. And when I'm 80 or 90, I just want to be able to look back and say, like, I lived life the way I wanted to live it, and I didn't live it to please other people. Because God, like, when you start to lose people, like, and for me, it's like, when I walked in and saw my dad dead on his living room floor, like, why the fuck do I care about people's opinions at that point? And it just kind of like puts shit into perspective. Like, oh, so-and-so wants to leave my brokerage because, I made a post about black vanilla ice cream, and I said, once you go black, you never go back. Just like the door's right there. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. And I'm just going to continue to be true to who I am. Not everyone's my people. I'm not for everybody. You know what I mean? And I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, and then I think it happens a lot when you get older, because when you're younger, you care about what everybody thinks,
Yeah.
right? And then when you get older, you're just like, why did I care so much? Like,
Yeah.
first of all, they probably don't even give a fuck about my well-being
Yeah.
to begin with. And I'm over here trying to like pursue like this certain, like I'm supposed to be this certain way. I'm supposed to, uphold this certain
Yeah.
like behave a certain way. But then, or like you don't want to actually be yourself because
Yeah.
you feel like they're going to judge you for some reason.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I've been there. And then for the long, like after you get to that point where you're just like, why do I care? Like as long as my family, they rock with me, that's all that matters. Like, because they're the ones that, whether good or bad, they got your back.
Yeah.
And especially, and that's like with you, as long as your kids are okay with it and like your immediate people are okay with it,
Yeah.
who cares what anybody else thinks?
Yeah. And I think for me, like, that's what's hard about now is like I grew my business to the point where like we're one of the larger brokerages in the area. So it's just like now people care, and for me, it's just like, I appreciate that they care about certain things, but also like who I am got me here, and who I am is going to take me where I'm going. And I can't sit there to try to please the masses. Like I can't sit there to, I remember I made a post about gay marriage in Idaho, and I was like, yo, if people want a state license and they want it, like, I get it. Like why people don't think gay people should get married in the church, right? Like, sure. But why they can't get married in a state and get a state license and have it be, recognized as that, I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? And people were pissed about it, right? I did a video in the podcast where I talked about I was 15, 16 years old, and I had my best friends, LDS parents, adults, without my parents' permission, giving me missionary talks, and they were going to convert me. And I said, man, if that was my boy, I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And people were upset. And it's just like, I had people call me, do you know where you live? Do you know what community? And it's just like, I didn't say anything bad. I just spoke the truth. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where like, you can't please everybody, and life is too fucking short to try. So
in the beginning, because like you said, you mentioned you have like one of the larger brokerages, a bunch of people in your company, right?
yeah.
Were you afraid to like in the beginning, like,
Yeah.
what are they gonna think about this?
I was more afraid that they thought that I was cheating on my wife than actually like, this is the type of relationship that I'm in. And for some people, it's still hard for them to grasp. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, sorry, bro. Like, I had two beautiful women that I was dating, and we occasionally do it again. You know what I mean? But it's just like, if you can't get with that, like, I'm not trying to get you to join. You know what I mean? But also, like, if it don't work for you, then there's other options. Like, we live in a free market, free country. Like, here's this broker's phone number. Give them a call.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you're like that, because I can see that. I didn't really think about that like in the beginning. Is like you were more worried about them thinking that you were cheating, because sometimes you'll see somebody who like, that's not your girl,
Yeah.
and like you're out. So instead of having that,
Yeah.
just coming clean and being like, yo, this is what we do. So if you see me,
Yeah.
she knows,
Yeah.
compared to, oh, like, I wonder if she knows, like he's doing this behind, like if he's like this, how is he going to be as a business person? Right. Like, and then do you like cold, like you could have got caught at a Coldplay concert.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we joked about that. We actually made a video with that with John. But honestly, for me, like I'm so big on just human connection, whether it's males or females, and I'm always like just down to get to know people outside of a surface level, and I think sometimes that's led to people like, what's going on, or like, were you trying to like, hit on me, or like, are you and this person? And I was like, no, like we're just close, and especially people that have like lost a parent or a sibling, like I connect with them in such a strong way, because that's something that like, if you haven't been through it, like it's not a lot of people understand what that's like. So I think I have a lot of friends that I'm open with and that I talk to, so.
Yeah. And they should be scared.
Yeah.
Or not scared, but knowing that they're not going to be here. Like something could happen
Yeah.
to them, hopefully nothing happens to a sibling or anything like that. But just even the thought, like I know I hate that. I hate and I love that I posted that video a while back ago. The one where I was thinking about my dad.
Yeah.
Because it is
older.
true. He gets old.
Yeah.
Parents get older, right?
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there thinking like, oh, like it's cool. Like I get older. They're gonna stay the same. They're gonna be around.
Yeah.
Right. And then he had to bury his mom. Right. And just seeing him, my dad's old school Mexican. Have you met my dad?
I don't think so.
So he's like old school Mexican. Always like he's like serious face and stuff.
Yep.
Just ball.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's his mom.
Yeah.
You know, my grandpa's getting close to that too.
Yeah.
You know, like he's getting up there. And then in my head, like, which sometimes makes me feel a type of way, I'm like, that's going to be me. Like, no matter what you think, like anybody, like, I know it sucks to think about.
Yeah.
But that's going to be you.
Yeah. I mean, burying your mom is fucking painful. With my dad, it was just a different journey. It was like, fuck, like, I don't want you to suffer anymore. Like, I got us, you know, like, let me take care of the family, you know, like, I don't know if you've heard that song Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that song just fucking, like, every time it comes on, it's just like, fuck, man, that's got me. With my sister, it sucked because my mom got diagnosed with cancer, so it was terminal, and then like maybe a year later, my sister died for COVID, so it just randomly gone. So that's probably the one that fucked me up the most. And then my mom, she just started kind of going down little by little, and then just, you know, when she passed, I was at her house and with my sister and my kids and my wife, and having to call everybody that had just left and saying like, hey, she's gone. And dude, like, you know, when the funeral home came, having to like lift up her dead body, put her in the body bag, like that shit is shit that's just, it's real life shit. And it puts so much into perspective, you know, but it's just like, fuck, I had to do all that before I was 40, you know, like I feel like
I don't know if I would be able to do that.
Oh fuck, man. It was difficult, but I felt like it was my responsibility. Like, this is my mom. I'm gonna, you know, I had regrets of when my dad died. He was just on the ground for longer than he should have been. But like, you know how Mexicans are, like they call everybody, then everybody wants to come in and see. Like, I wish I would have just been able to like pick him up, put him in his bed. But I was in shock because I was like the first person that was dead that was like super close to me. I lost grandparents when I was like really young, but like that was one that I was like, fuck.
Yeah, and then now, well, ever since that, my dad has been different. Meaning like more open, like talks more. Smiles a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe he's like it's, you're not going to be here for a long time.
Your mortality sets in, dude. Like, you know, so after my dad died, it was hard for me. Like, we used to play poker all the time with my primos, you know? I couldn't do it anymore. Like, I'd go, we'd have drinks, start playing poker, and I'd just start crying because I'd just look around and it's like, where's my dad, you know? But after my sister died, I've never been an anxious person. Anxiety hit. Like, I remember, like, I just hated being around crowds. Like, I used to love public speaking. I used to love, like, being in the social life and being around everybody. And then my sister dies, and all of a sudden, like, I remember I'd go to, like, these networking meetings. I'd drive to the parking lot, get there, and just immediately kind of have, like, a mini panic attack, start crying, and be like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Because, like, I don't want people to ask how I'm doing. I don't want people to say, sorry about your sister, because even though they mean well, it's just like, and even like talking about it like today, like it still hurts with that heaviness of like, you know, because like she was in a coma and it was during COVID, so it's like we couldn't see her, so she was by herself. So like I just would have to call her every night while she was in a coma, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't actually physically go see her, and then it sucked because so December 31st, which is the New Year's Eve, we'd always go to her house, and because it was my nephew's birthday. So we'd celebrate New Year's there with family, go there. We get a call from the doctors on December 31st saying, hey, she's not going to make it. We need all you guys to come say your goodbyes. So we did that on my nephew's birthday. Dang. You know, I ended up catching COVID. And then the day after I got COVID, she passes. So I couldn't even be there with my mom or my sister when they told her that she passed. So I was isolated, and I was only able to go see her at the funeral home the day before the funeral. So it sucked, dude. it was one of those things where you're just like,
Yeah,
damn.
and those things put things into perspective, and that's why like the more it sucks that sometimes you have to go through certain situations like that to see that,
Yep.
you know, but as long as you still see it, right? Like I wish my dad would have been how he is now
Yeah.
a long time ago,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not never that he didn't love us. He was just like really serious all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like never joking around and
Yeah.
like super serious all the time.
Yeah.
Typical old school Mexican dad,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And then now he's like different,
Yeah.
like ever since that. And I'm just like, and it could be the health issues that he had too that were a scare
Yeah.
that made him a little
Yeah.
bit different. And then even during COVID, my uncle, he ended up passing away too, not because of COVID. He was an alcoholic, but I kind of like that they didn't let her go in there, like my mom, because when you, what is it when they get, they're alcoholics and then I think their kidneys and stuff stop working. What is it called? No, but it's like sclerosis.
Cirrhosis?
Cirrhosis? Yeah, something like that.
Sclerosis is just when it's scarring.
Oh, because like something, his kidneys stopped working, and he was going through organ failure. I think it was that or something like that. So he went through that, and he was like super
Cirrhosis.
skinny,
Yeah.
super skinny. Like I saw somebody, like one of my cousins, post a picture, and I'm like, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
And so the doctors had told everybody that he was gonna pass. Like he didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of time, and so my parents went to go see him. But they didn't let him in because it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So unless like it was like no, they were just not letting people in
Yeah.
at all. And so he ended up passing away in there. And I think only immediate family was in there, like
Yeah.
kids and wife, right?
Yeah.
So she didn't get to see him, which I'm glad because imagine seeing somebody like that.
Oh, it's horrible, man. When we went to go say goodbye to my sister, she had the, what was it, the ventilator, the thing in her throat. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was laying on her stomach, and it was just horrible. And I feel really bad for my niece and my nephews and her husband because like they were in the room when they pulled it out, and she took her last breath and left. So it's just like that stuff's brutal, man. It sticks with you. And like as far as your dad goes, like he's probably different now because like he's appreciating like so for me right now, I'm in Arizona for a
Soccer
take my
center.
13-year-old to play soccer. You know what I mean? It's just like it just really makes you want to be better with the time you have because you realize like it could be gone anytime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anytime.
So I actually had I put on Instagram that I was gonna do this podcast. So we got a bunch of questions here. So
Oh damn. Okay.
so even if we just answered them, I'm still gonna, because people like it when they're
Yeah.
like they see their question too.
Yeah.
So Jessica says, how did you know you could share your partner?
Well, so first of all, what's up, Jessica? Two of the girls we hung out with are named Jessica. You know,
It was probably her.
maybe you almost don't, you know, but I think like we're not possessions, you know, like I don't own her, she doesn't own me, but I think for us it was the communication for so long, and then eventually it became like, okay, we're ready, let's try it, excitement. And you really don't know until
It happens.
it happens, and then you gotta, you know, sort through all that stuff. But fortunately for us, with that first time, it was just really good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because like how you mentioned earlier, like you don't know, you have a game plan until you get punched in the face, like the
Yeah.
Mike Tyson quote, because you could have been like, yeah, we're like, it's cool, we can share your, I'll share my wife with another girl.
yeah,
And then that happens, and you're just like, hell no, like I'm not sharing. Like, did you see the way
Yeah.
she was touched? But you didn't know you were gonna feel like that until it
Yeah.
actually happened.
Yeah.
Like you can imagine it and things
Yeah.
like that. That's why like some people were like, oh, I would be like this. Yeah, okay, we'll see how it is. Like as soon as it happens, right?
yeah,
You know, the
Yeah.
example I give all the time is my buddy Ed Calderon. He was on Joe Rogan 3 times already.
hell yeah,
He gave me this example. He's like, if chupacabras jumped through this window right here and started peeing on everybody, he's like, what would you do? And you're like, he was like, probably everybody would freeze because 1, it's chupacabras. You've never seen it before. And then 2, he's peeing on everybody, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but he's like, and if he happened to jump in again and you knew he was gonna pee on you, you're gonna run this time. He's like, because it, like, you know what's happening. So because we were talking about, like, you don't know how you're gonna react until something happens, right?
Yep.
You know, there's some people who might have ran, but you don't know what's gonna happen. And me, I would have ran to go get a gun, like, if that would happen. But that's why, like, I'm glad you gave that. Like, you don't know until, like, it actually happens, because maybe you could have been good with it, but your wife, the moment she saw you touching another woman like that, she could have been like, we're cutting this off.
100%. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. So we have even some of the fellas. Marco, he says, isn't poly just an excuse to cheat?
You know, I think poly, in the sense that you were describing it earlier, where like a dude can have multiple girlfriends or vice versa. Like, I can see how you can see it that way. For us, it was about us doing it together, you know, because there's something. So I grew up in a 2 female, 1 male household. Like, my dad lived with my mom and her sister. Now, it wasn't romantic, right? But I lived with my cousin, who was like my brother, you know? So it to me, to see 3 people who loved each other, who supported each other, who took care of the house, you know what I mean? Like, when my parents worked swing shifts, I was there with my aunt and, you know, my cousin, you know? So for me, it's just like less about cheating, and it's less, and it's not just all sexual, you know what I mean? So
the whole relationship building that goes on too.
Yeah, so I can see how some people can see like a poly or something like that, but like with something, at least with what we were doing, which I wouldn't call it poly. I don't know what I'd call it.
Thruple, like you said.
Thruple and something like that, you know, but I don't necessarily I could see how someone could see it that way, but it wasn't that way for us. So.
Yeah, and especially, I could see it if you were forcing your wife to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, we need to be like, this is something we need to try, or let's do it. Like, I can see that being an excuse for cheating, right?
Yeah.
But since you guys are both on the same page, like, that's not cheating. You know what I mean?
The in between is always the hardest, right? Mm-hmm. But I think once we're like hanging out with someone, dating someone, like it just becomes fun, man. Because there's a lot of fun to be had, and whatever the situation is, could be one girl and 2 guys, it could be 3 girls, 3 guys, whatever it is. Like, it's a lot more common than I thought.
Yeah. Would you? It's not on here, but just, would you be okay with 2 guys and just her?
No, I get, you know,
I'm the same way. I would say the same thing.
I get a lot of the girls ask that we hang out with, you know, and the reason this is able to work this way is because my wife is genuinely attracted to females. I have no attraction to males. You know what I mean? Like, I can't get there. Like, I don't even find myself attractive. You know what I mean? Like, so I just couldn't, you know, and my wife is attracted to both, but she's never been like, hey, you want to, you know, hang out with another male. So, but all the straight females that ask us, and we've even had females that like, well, would you be willing to like double? And then it's just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So, yeah, but no, sorry, dudes.
That was just a personal question. Cause, there's some people who are actually into that, and that's a no for me.
Which is cool. Like, if you're into that, like, find what works for you, but it's just not
I'm just not playing swords with another guy. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting over a hole.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you had your turn, buddy.
There's plenty of holes, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
So Vanessa says, do you love one person more than the other? And you kind of explained your first relationship. That kind of happened.
Yeah.
Has it happened with her?
Where she's fallen for someone?
More, and like...
I think there was, one individual that I think she got along with better than, like, there was one, I think maybe 2 that she kind of got along with a little bit better. There was one that I struggled to be attracted to. So, like, even, like, during sex, it was like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm a pass on this one.
Yeah, like, we had, but, at the end of the day, like, what was the question? Like, do you love one person more than the other?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think for us, like, obviously mine and my wife's relationship is established. So I think the beauty of what we're trying to do now is just plant another seed and blossom something. And it's just its own thing. So there's no comparison. There's no trying to, who do you love more? It's just like, we're kind of doing this together and we're seeing where it goes,
So, which leads to the next question is, what happens if someone catches feelings for just one? Meaning, like, I think this is more of a, you know how your wife was attracted to this girl and you weren't really feeling it? Like,
Yeah.
what do you guys do there? Like, do you just sacrifice just because she likes her?
Yeah.
Or like, what goes on there?
So I'm big on just human connection, right? Like I'm like, if I can vibe with you, like I'll hang out with you. Don't mean we gotta have sex, you know what I mean? But so I'm cool with that. That did happen, I think, with the first one. Like I think there was strong feelings, and she may have just been more straight than bi, and it just didn't work out, you know. So she ended up wanting to find a regular relationship, which is cool. So I can see it potentially happening, but again, like it's something you got to be super careful with and just communicate. And once you start hanging out with someone else, you really got to communicate with that person too, you know, because there's 3 lives. You don't want to fuck anybody over, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So that was from Tyler. I just want to make sure everybody's. So this one's from. Her name was Brittany, but I put Bree. How do you deal with jealousy? I mean, we kind of talked about that, but if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, you know, I think jealousy comes from ego, from pride. You know, if you can just like eliminate ego, or, you know, reduce it as much as possible, and realize like, you know, like, cause I did like, and it might sound weird, but like, I just remember there was times where I was just like, whoa, like I'm feeling a little bit of jealousy here, you know, but it's also because you're opening the door for someone else to enjoy your spouse to enjoy somebody else. But I think we just talked about it. Does it mean that we don't feel it now? You know what I mean? Like, sure, there's a little bit of that, but like, you don't want to feed it, because like, this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's like when you go work out, like what happens when you get sore, right? What happens when you get tired? It's just like, you know, ice up, son. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just keep going, and like, we're working towards something. So.
Perfect. Luis asks, do all your partners know about each other? And I'm sure keeping something secret is off the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at least with us, we don't have, like, we're not like dating others without each other's knowledge. Like, I would not date someone on my own. It's something that we do together. So I think in our scenario, it's not traditional poly, I guess. But yeah, there's not I don't have like secret girlfriends or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, Polly, you would have the other girls would want to know.
Yeah.
Too. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've never been in one. So Sophia asks, typical Sophia question. No, sure. I don't know who this. Who decides the rules?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question, actually. You know, for me, I want to let it was you gotta let her drive. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I think for me, you let the female decide. You know, as the male, I think it's just better to like, because there's a lot of benefits to it as a male. You know, there's a lot of it's hard work. You know, you got to navigate through a lot of things. But for me, it was like, I think have her, you know, set the rules, and then we kind of talk about it, you know, and then eventually it's like not everything is set in stone. Like you just start to flow, and every situation has a different, you know, outcome. So
perfect. So Jalen asks, can a poly relationship actually last long term?
yeah. So
Or related to this
yeah,
relationship.
in my heart, like I think for the both of us, like we'd love nothing more than just to find someone that like truly sees how beautiful it can be to, you know, be with 2 people that love you, you know, that love each other, that you're truly like a unit together, a team together, you know? So do I believe it can happen? Yeah, but it just hasn't happened yet. And I think right now our goal and our focus has changed from like, let's fall in love and shack up in 6 months, right? Now it's like, let's just have fun, be open, and see where it goes, and not put that pressure on, because there's nothing better. And I think even a traditional relationship, like there's nothing better than falling in love with your best friend and being with your best friend for the rest of your life. So I think for us, like, would we love to have a best friend that both of us love and enjoy, and vice versa for her? Like, absolutely.
It's because you need to leave Idaho. That's why.
Maybe that's what I got to do.
It's too
you know?
small here, bro.
Yeah.
Daisy asks, what happens on holidays? Who gets the Valentine's Day?
Yeah. we had a Valentine's Day. I think we all just hung out together. So, but again, it wasn't one of those where it's like a separate total relationship. You But yeah, we hung out together. I think holidays. I think she had her kids for the holidays that first Christmas, so she did kind of her thing with her family too. So it didn't get to the point where it was so serious, where it was like, you know, are we all going to the family holiday party?
Yeah.
So,
It's funny, for Valentine's Day, I made a video. I was like buying all my side pieces flowers, and I just put like a bunch of things and then how much each one cost. Because I went through, I was like, all right, this one costs it, and write it down.
Yeah.
And like people actually believed me that I went out and I spent like 400 and something bucks on just like buying a bunch of girls flowers. Like,
Yeah.
Which was funny.
Yeah.
I need to do another video like that. Would you ever, Ricky says, I want to make sure I get their name. Ricky says, would you ever go back to being just you and her?
Yeah.
Monogamous.
So I think we're monogamous 90% of the time, you know, the way we're doing it, you know. And we'll hang out with whoever's down to hang out, you know. And then if that morphs into something else, and right now we're looking for just long lasting just friendships and connections, you know what I mean? And we have a few, and obviously always open for more, but yeah, I think right now monogamously we're that 90% of the time. Would it be cool and different to have someone with us 90% of the time? I think it's something that we're totally open to. It's just haven't found the right situation.
Yeah. It's funny because I did a podcast with Kaylee and Chris. Chris is gay, and he's actually in a similar situation. He's with these two guys that are married, and he is in that, and he's like, it's one of the best relationships ever that he's been in.
I believe it, dude. And like, and the people that are happily in one of these, it's the coolest thing, because like it's one of those things where maybe society doesn't like get it or understand it, but like once you break away from your comfort zone and realize like this is actually where it's at, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's super cool.
I love that. All right. So Lily says, how do you start one? Well, I'm sure that would be with Polly, but with you guys, I mean, what if I remember correctly, the way it started was you guys had this conversation, right?
Yeah.
So this aligns right along with her question. How did you guys like start this? Like, did you just like put a flyer in the newspaper and like,
you know, we didn't want to get on dating sites, and I almost feel like kind of word got out, and then I think we got found, you know?
Really?
But then after that, like I'm a salesperson, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's a numbers game. So like, but honestly, like I always tell my wife, like it's so hard for me because like I'm, you know, if I remember we both got on Facebook dating, right? The only women that pop up on my screen are straight. And even when I'm hitting up girls on social media that I'm friends with, you know, and what's cool is like most of the girls that we've hung out with, like we've known or they've known us. So there's been comfort there. I remember we hung out with a longtime friend of hers from her childhood, you know, and it was just kind of a cool thing to do. She was a super interesting, cool person. But it's difficult. And we've talked about like maybe like her getting on like a dating site and just actually finding someone that's just like truly bi and stuff. But really for me, it's just you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I'm a shooter, man. I'm going to shoot my shots and I'll get rejected.
So you said that most of them have all been people that you know. Has there ever been like a random?
No, like there's
like you guys found on a dating app somewhere? Or?
No, we haven't. That's one thing. Like we kind of will dabble in those, but like, man, those sometimes feel so demeaning. Like it's just like you're swiping right on a picture, and it's just like I don't get to know your soul. I don't get to know who you are. Like
there's no connection.
Yeah.
There's just a physical attraction.
Yeah, but that's what sucks too, though, because like when I kind of mentioned a little controversial thing that happened, you know, earlier in the last couple months, but like you have lunch with someone, you hit it off, the connection's cool, you kind of throw it out there that, you know, your wife's bi, but you're not asking her to hang out, and then all of a sudden like, so what are the rules? You know what I mean? Like, and then they start asking questions, and before you know it, it's just like, man, you're someone that like we could have fun with, you know?
Yeah.
And I think to me, like if you're gonna start something, like start with friendships. Get to really know someone, get to understand them, and then really just have fun. And then if you have that and it's no pressure, then it leads to, like I said, we have friends that we we're not intimate with. But like, it's just so cool to hang out with other females. I grew up with all sisters, and then 2 aunts, 2 males in my household. So it's just like, for me, I feel like I can be better friends with a female than a male. Cause I do, and no offense to men, but like, men suck at talking about shit. You know what I mean? Like, I can sit there and talk about a female and not talk with a female, and it can just flow. But like, for some reason, men are just kind of lame. You know what I mean? It's like, if I was a woman, I'd be for sure lesbian. You know what I mean? But that's just, I have yeah.
All right. So the last one that I have is from Cham. She says, poly relationships are trouble. Been there, done that, even with boundaries. What do you think went wrong in that? Maybe there wasn't communication, or...
I think poly relationships, I can see why they can be trouble. Because if you're truly, like, I could see myself and my wife, if we're just like, hey, let's just be poly. I'm going to go date someone else. You're going to go date someone else. Like, human connection is a real thing, and you can truly connect with someone when it's one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So I can see why poly relationships are trouble. And I'm not saying what we're doing isn't trouble, but yeah, I can see poly relationships being problematic, which is why I don't identify us as poly, because I think it's different rules.
Like I mentioned, like what I thought poly was, which is different than when you said poly is like when the guy is dating multiple girls.
Yeah,
right?
Or the female. Like I joined some poly groups, and I don't post anything. And I'd have to leave them because like I'd sit there and be like, oh shit, like this is poly. Like this is like, oh, you don't own this person. Everyone's like, they'd get mad at people that were looking for a third, right? Because like that's not poly. So it's just one of those things where like, you know, it's a different lifestyle than what we're trying to do. But I can see absolutely how it's problematic, you know?
I mean, you don't have to out them. I'm just curious. Have you found, or since you started getting involved in this type of stuff, that some people have surprised you? You're like, you're maybe a swinger, or like they're in an open relationship. Have you found some people you're like, damn, I didn't know you were into that?
Yeah. I think early on, that's where I was the most shocked, is like, hey, would y'all want to hang out, you know, couples, or like we have this get together with, you know, multiple people. And it's just like, no, that's not what we're doing. What's cool though is like, I mean, one of the girls we dated, like she had already heard about us, right? Like, oh, I heard you guys do this. So I was like, oh, so you done hang out? And I'm like, yeah. And it's just like, so I think for me, like the question I'd have for viewers and just straight women in general is like, what would make a straight woman want to hang out with a married couple? Because that's what we're seeing most of the time. Like, I'm excited to hang out with someone that's truly bi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever thought about, because you actually come to Arizona fairly often, right? Because you were here like a couple weeks ago, weren't you?
Yeah. Do I need to come more? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Like, is that where this lifestyle is like?
I mean, that I've heard, there's some crazy people out here. Like, not crazy is like that there's a lot of that goes on. Yeah. Because when I do the TikTok lives and stuff like that and the questions, I guess there's a huge community of that going on here.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And you know, like the whole like, and that's why a lot of gay people have actually came to Arizona, because it's like more, even though you would think it wouldn't be, but there's a lot of that goes on here. Yeah. There's a lot of these, I'm still learning from these things, like they call them like parties and stuff like that. And like, it's like an orgy, like type of party, right? Like,
yeah.
And there's that, I guess it happens a lot out here.
Yeah.
So you might be in the wrong place.
Oh man, I don't know if we're like a community party type people.
No, you should come out here and have her sign up for whatever dating app. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And that way, like she can, you might find somebody out here. You know. Yeah. The population is way bigger.
Well, I'd bring them back to Idaho. We got.
They'll come right back when they feel that cold.
Winter time. We'll warm you up. No, we got you.
Like, we'll keep you warm.
Yeah. No, I mean it's definitely been interesting. You know, and like even right now, like we have females that we talk to and we're willing to hang out with, but like we're not like thirsty and just chasing. Like if the right opportunity arises, then perfect, you know, because we're busy too.
So. Yeah, that and like family life too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad that you were able to answer a lot of these questions. Is there something that people don't understand still, like,
Yeah.
about your throuple situation? You know, that, because again, you can say they'll listen to the whole podcast and
Yeah.
then they'll still be like, I still don't agree with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to those people? Like, maybe be open to this. Maybe it's because they never tried it, or maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think if it's something that you're truly interested in, I think it's worth trying, but take a few months and actually like talk about it first, because you're going to experience a lot of different things, and then if it's something that you don't agree with, like, you don't got to do it. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it. But like, there's something beautiful, at least from my perspective, about, being able to hang out with two females that like are into each other, that love each other, that support each other, and they reciprocate that with you. And it's just, it's harmony, man. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, every week I try to give a call to action, and then this one I was like, what can be this week's call to action? You know, I can't be like, if you've never been in a throuple situation, go give it a try. Like, but I have here put down, like, if you've been listening to this podcast and you still can't say, or if you still say like, I can't do that, or I would never do something like that, just ask yourself why you wouldn't be able to do it. You know, like, what is it exactly? And actually think about it, right? Actually think about why it is that you can't do it. Is it because you don't want to share your partner? Is it because, there's no right answer here. You know, it just, to get your brain to think a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll just be like, well, actually, I'm kind of thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe they listen to it and they're like, well, he seems like they're having a great time.
Yeah.
Of course, it has its ups and downs, so
Yeah.
nothing is ever perfect. So
It's just like any other relationship, man. There's good times, there's highs, there's lows. I know my wife really got into like listening to like a throuple podcast, and she'd follow this throuple. She was like straight up reading into it. You know what I mean? Because I think for her, the way her brain works is she really wants to like figure out how it works, and and really her big thing was like there's different relationships here. It's me and you, it's me and her, and you and her, and then the three of us, and you got to be able to like maintain and respect that. And like, so it was, I don't know, it's cool. And now honestly we're just dating and having fun, and I think me and her will hang out and karaoke more, just her and I, than other people. But like, we're always down to meet new people, have fun. And I think my call to action is like, if it's truly something that you're interested in, just separate the throuple idea from poly, and then really just research and what it is, but more importantly, like, just respect each other. You know what I mean?
I think I like how you said that, is actually taking some time and talking about it, but don't just jump into it, because
Don't do that.
a lot of things could go wrong.
Yeah. Worst thing you could do is just say, let's try it, invite someone over, get fucked up, and then,
And just ruin your relationship.
Yeah.
Just because you guys didn't really communicate, like, what, or like just some random one night stand type of situation too. Like,
we had I feel like it's something like building a house, right? Like, you got to pour the foundation. You got to dig the hole first before you start putting the framing up and get everything else up. I think we spent a lot of time just setting the foundation and really prepping ourselves for whatever. So,
well, I appreciate you coming and chatting about it, because not a lot of people are too open about these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they'd rather keep it a secret and things like that. But and I get plenty of questions about this, and this is another angle, which is absolutely great. The whole throuple situation, because yes, like, after chatting with you about it, I can see the differences, right?
Yeah.
And this is how you learn, is that obviously you just have these conversations, and I'm sure they're going to learn a lot of things from this. So, and hopefully we're able, one day your wife will be comfortable enough to, to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Because I would love to get her side too, because we can only say so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can be like, oh, this is what she thinks. And then she's sitting right here. She's be like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, that's not exactly how I saw it. She's like, so I would love to get that. So one of these days when you convince her to do it, I would love to have the both of you guys on too.
Yeah, that'd be way cool. I know John struggles to get her to just get on real estate videos, because she just hates that.
There's just some people who don't like to be on camera.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
Even if she wants to do just an audio version,
Yeah.
I'm down with that too.
Yeah. No, she's super cool. One of the sweetest humans, that you'll ever meet. Just loving and kind. And yeah, I'm glad we've been able to just kind of experience this, together.
So if you guys have any questions for it, like especially this, the type of throuple situation, where can they find you at?
Man, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, just wherever. If you're cute and bi, just find me. You know what I mean? And female, of course. But
You're
no,
gonna have dudes written there, be like, hey,
right? Yeah,
hey, daddy.
Yeah, no, but honestly, like I think there's a lot of people that have questions about it. I'm always happy to answer any questions, but I think if it's something that you do that you don't make it just purely sexual, I think it could be something that's really cool.
Yeah. And what is your Instagram and TikTok?
So I think my TikTok is Idaho Dad. So
That he was gonna say Idaho Daddy.
no, I dropped the DY. Shout out
drove
to
for that
Daddy
one.
Yankee. Yep. And then I think it's just Elias / Trejo.
Yeah.
On
I'll link it
Instagram.
down below. Just
Yeah.
But if you guys have any questions for him, because I know like sometimes they're on the edge
Yeah.
to do some of these things. They just don't know where to start or what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah.
Or even if they have questions about your guys' initial conversations too, like how did you guys get this started, right? Because again, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to him, give him a follow. Regardless, he's been doing a lot of real estate content too. So like if you guys are in the market too, and even if it's not in Idaho, he can definitely point you in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, thank you for doing this, dude. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was nervous. I wasn't sure where it was going, but it was chill, man. It was pretty cool.
It's like we got it formatted over here.
Yeah, I was like, damn, you got notes and shit.
Got
All
notes
right.
and everything.
Yeah, but no, it was cool, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you guys.
So-
And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys.
There you
Me
go.
llame, baby, demasiado tarde, pero tú sabes, nos vemos más tarde. Perreamos, peleamos, same night flow, así vivimos. End up with a toxic